the first time since 1969, the Sports Car Club of America's National Championship Runoffs return to one of their historic homes, Daytona. Welcome to the 52nd SCCA Runoffs presented by Garmin Verb at Daytona International Speedway, brought to you by Mazda. The run for the medals begins now. The cloud's starting to roll in here at Daytona International Speedway, as is the excitement as our coverage of this 2015 running of SCCA's National Championship Runoffs presented by the Garmin Verb at Daytona International Speedway continues here. It is time for the coverage of Formula F, one of my absolute favorite classes here, and our coverage today being brought to you by Mazda. I'm Greg Creamer, joined by Jeff Lepper, Hayward Wagner, down in the pits. And you can see they're up on their feet. They know something's going to happen here. And one of the true joys for me about SCCA Club road racing is the purity of it. Yes, there are classes that have the big, massive downforce and tunnel technology and all that. But to me, when you want a driver to really make a difference, you don't have wings, you have small tires. It's all about driver skill. And as a result, Formula F, which started as Formula Ford back in 1969, Jeff, this is a class that launched so many careers here with that simple principle. Not a lot of tire, no aero, slippery as can be in Hayward. That means the driver in this class, maybe more than any other, makes a massive difference.
Another big difference you're going to see today, guys, is the rear tires. Traditionally, a Formula F would have a wider rear and a narrow front. However, the rules allow them to run the front tire on both ends of the car if they choose to. A lot of the guys took advantage of that in qualifying to have less drag around the oval and a higher top speed. But now that we're into the race, the risk with no aero is that if you slide those rears around a lot on the infield, they will get very hot. So you may see quite a few drivers at the front of this grid who try to make a break on those narrow rear tires, and then other drivers at the back of the field trying to run them down with the higher grip rears.
And of course, in this class, Jeff, without downforce and aero, as Hayward's talking about here, you do anything you can, obviously, to try and maximize your straight line speed when you're up on this high-speed banking for so much. But you still have to have that key mechanical grip on the infield.
Yeah, you really do, and we've seen that, and I believe in this class as well, you'll see guys that set the car up for the infield, I believe will have an advantage here. You don't have the low-sprung wings. You can't play with tunnels on these cars. Yeah, they're a flat bottom, but there's nowhere to duck that air to. It just goes under the car or it goes over the car. That's it. So you need to set your car up for the road course to be quick around this track.
Absolutely, and you notice a lot of the back of these Formula F cars, and they've done it for years. Really, when the Swift DB1 came out, it revolutionized it because it closed the air up behind the car, which one minute was a little tougher to draft off of that car, but it also really brought that drag level down, and it revolutionized the class. R.K. Smith getting that first big win and changing the dynamic of this category. Now these cars are super slippery, and as they head out of the false grid and get ready to start this race, Jeff, one thing just to talk a little bit about here is these are not big engines in these cars either, and that's all part and parcel of the package. They're a momentum car where the driver and the control, but these engines are not much more than 1.5 liter.
No, the Ford, the 1600cc in the Ford, the Honda Fit motor, the L15 code engine, which is a 1500cc motor, 1497 to be exact. That motor is actually also rev limited. A lot of guys have switched back to the Ford after running the Honda motor, thinking that they'll need the higher revs here on the high banks of the oval. We'll have to see how that plays out, as one of our drivers there, car number 8, still getting his gloves and his helmet on, trying to get going, as you see the guys in the golf cart there trying to hurry up and get his gear over to him.
Yeah, he just missed that completely, and that's a very experienced competitor. That's Mark Blanc. He actually had a 6th place finish in this class in 2012 at Road America, and he's been around and doing this for a while. I think he just got caught out a little bit here, but hey, schedules are schedules and rules are rules, and as that field heads out, we're going to start showing you the starting lineup across the top of the scroll here. But on the pole is the guy who ended up with, he's a 3-time national champion, Tim Kotz in the number 88. That's the Brayburn Hoosier 2-dog Aeroquip, and that is a Honda-powered Howard Piper. Very slippery car. The guy, though, that starts on his right shoulder, Jeff, on the outside of the front row, the young man who is the defending champion and got his first national championship last year at Mazda Raceway, Laguna Seca, the 21 Ski Motorsports Hoosier Quicksilver citation of Jeremy Grenier.
Yeah, Jeremy was the champion last year, also won the Mark Donahue Award from the Road Racing Drivers Club. He collected that award here at the Rolex 24 Hour at Daytona, so he comes back home defending that award win.
Yeah, that's pretty cool, isn't it? Starting third will be the number 83, and depending upon if your inclination is English or French, his name is William Vallet or William Valet. Out of Coram, New York, runs the New York region, and his driver services Loinings Engine Swift DB6. And it's interesting, a lot of guys have adopted that DB6 that run the Swift. It's actually a Formula Continental car that they take the wings off. They just found it was a little bit more stable with that slightly longer wheelbase. Important here. Two-time national champion John Robinson and the number 19 Lee Racing Cricket Farm Motors Swift will start in that 4th spot. David Livingston, number 85, will start 5th in the Thermomasters Spectrum Honda-powered machine. Starting 6th, Jason Generati, his first runoffs in his Dangerous Cargo Lee Racing machine. 3rd in the Southeastern Conference this year. That was his route to get here. Very successful for Jason. 7th, John Benson, the number 7 ABS Racing, also at Cricket Farms Motorsports Swift. 8th will be the 71. The guy who was so close to a national championship last year, Max Malinen, young 19-year-old driver, son of the Michael Malinen, who we've seen with a lot of success in the Atlanta category. And Max was in the hunt at Mazda Raceway, Jeff, for the win, trying to go for the lead, had a quick moment, looped it up in the corkscrew, something broke in the car, and he ended up in the gravel off in turn 10, but he is one quick gun, and I think he's going to be fun to watch.
Yeah, it'd be great to see if he can catch a draft here and work his way through the field. Really had a miserable qualifying sessions on all 4 times and was only able to muster that 8th place finish. They've been working on that car setup-wise and on the scale platform for the past 2 days.
Absolutely. It's going to be an interesting exercise for him. Starting 9th, 73, Lawrence Hendrickson in the James Lee Racing Cricket Farm Swift, and completing your top 10, the 75 of Rick Payne out of Mission, British Columbia, running the Northwest region, Peyton Tools car. A couple of other big stories. We already saw the problem for Mark Blanc. Caught out. Bill Kephart, one of the most experienced drivers, a little struggle in qualifying, ended up in 14th. But a big story here is twofold. One, Michael Lewis, the guy who won the GT1 race here, multiple-time national champion driver, won earlier this weekend, got a super sweep. They had just, he said, gotten their head around that Vestal that they were running last year. He said, we had good speed, we had it dialed, but we knew we couldn't sit still. They've done basically a new car, the Vestal 15. They're running that Honda power plant, and he goes, it's a whole new deal, and he said, now we're just chasing things, and we just don't have the speed yet. But a couple spots in front of him is Megan Sauce, who had one heck of an ordeal getting here.
Yeah, 2 months ago, she got done with one of the events, parked the truck, the trailer, the rig, the car, everything. It was stolen, gone. Truck, trailer, driving gear, car, everything. They acquired this new car, got her new car, and literally a week before she's leaving for the runoffs, the police call her, notified that we found your car. They haven't found all the rest of the stuff, but she at least got her car back. But what a great effort by her and her team to get her back out here, acquired a brand new, not a new, but a Swift DB6 chassis, new to them, to be able to come here and compete in the runoffs. Also, she's used to ovals. In her spare time, she's a roller derby girl, so she likes to run on those ovals and skates and 4-wheels, so she does it here again on the oval at Daytona.
Oh, really? Well, if I'm on the outside shoulder of her going into a corner, I'd be a little leery because I could see that elbow swinging out of that cockpit and coming back here. Well, here we go. 50 miles, 14 laps, or 40 minutes of Formula F competition. One of the great classes in the history of Sports Car Club of America National Championship Racing, and we are green. Oh, and a nice move there. Look for that move from the outside. And look at this, they just fan out, Jeff. 2, 3 abreast, but Tim Kotz leads them down into the infield. Thought for a minute there we might see 83 Valet try and come down the inside, and he almost loses it with a big wiggle there, and that might cost him a spot or two.
Yeah, I think that's going to be a big toss up there. Number 73, that's Lawrence Hendrickson. And the number 11 of Hans Serino. Unfortunately, those cars take it up in turn 1, and I got to think, Greg, that's going to be a full course yellow.
Yeah, there's no way they can get that cleaned up, and it's right in the middle of the racing line. So I think we'll see in pretty short order that full course caution come out as we watch this lead duo of Kotz and Grenier easing away from the field already, but it's going to be very short-lived. Kotz's time at 2-minute 2.489 second lap, and it was a 2:02.541 for Grenier and a 2:02.7 for Valley. So, I mean, only a couple of tenths between second and third, but in this class, especially if you can draft up, that's what's going to happen as that full course caution comes out. Here's a look, see if we can find it, Jeff. Ooh, there it is.
Yeah, just ran right over the rear of Hendrickson. No fault of his own as he's down there in turn number 1. And unfortunately, Hans Sereno just ran right in the back of him. Those cars tangled up. It's going to take a couple laps to get this group back underway, let the field bunch back up, and then get that accident cleared off there in turn number 1.
Well, open wheel racing, those are the things that can happen, obviously. And a tough start to this one, but they'll get things reined in. Guys are making a pretty good pace out there for being under full course caution. We did get the call. It was full course. I haven't seen a corner station yet. Yeah, you can see the lights flashing on the emergency vehicles. That usually indicates they did call the full course. And right now, that's just a single caution being displayed out there. This is interesting.
Yeah, we saw this a little bit earlier, one of the earlier races where they went full course yellow, but did not do a pace car. Maybe they can get those cars or they're off in harm's way. I'm not sure exactly where that incident is, but if they are hung up, it's going to take a safety crew to do that, as we see Tim Couts coming across the line to complete lap number 1, albeit under yellow.
And take a look. Yep, the double yellows fly at the start stand. You can see Couts waving him down and bringing that speed down as they get down toward the incident zone. With that, we're going to get a break in, and we will be back and bring you the rest of the entire race in the run for the gold in Formula F here at Daytona. The 2015 SCCA National Championship Runoffs, presented by Garmin Verb, is being brought to you by Mazda. Mazda, driving matters.
16 wide eyes. Driver's license, took 2 tries, bought a Roadster secondhand. Playing parties with the band, loaded up, off to state. Hijinks, tailgates, starter, midsize, family cruising. Now in the garage, something new reminds you of when you were you.
It's time to face facts. You're a gearhead. You wish the freeway on-ramp was your personal racetrack. Well, buckle up, buddy, because the Sports Car Club of America wants you. With 40,000 members and events across the country, the SCCA has all the excitement you can handle. Dance the blacktop two-step with SCCA Solo. Get down and dirty with SCCA Rallycross. Or go wheel-to-wheel with SCCA Club Racing. Hit the track with the SCCA, where America's best drivers race.
Under caution here in the run for the gold at the SCCA Runoffs, the 2015 version of this legendary championship race, the National Amateur Championship Run presented by Garmin Verb. And again, right at the start, a couple of cars getting together down into turn 1, and as a result, we are under caution while that cleanup is affected here. And amazingly, Jeff, look at this, the number 73 of Lawrence Hendrickson, who got run up and over, is driving that car away under its own power. I don't know that it's particularly healthy, but at least he's able to drive it away under his power. And unfortunately for Hans Sereno, the number 11 there, that car broke, and you can see that right front corner seriously deranged, so it is up on the back of the hook.
And usually if he does just hit that tire and climbs over the back and there's no damage to any of those wishbones or suspension components, you can continue on. I highly doubt it to see the damage on the right front of that car, to know how big of an impact that was to Hendrickson's car. I don't think he's going to be able to continue, possibly just nursing it along to get it back into pit lane.
Yeah, I think that's a distinct possibility. We'll have to see. But again, this is going to be interesting. And we saw Katz and Grenier make a little bit of a break here in the early going here. But it is going to be, this brings William Vallet, John Robinson, David Livingston, and the rest of the field right back into play here. But boy, when that went green, Jeff, those two guys out front, Katz and Grenier, were able to open up a little bit of a margin in a hurry. And if they can do that and then hook up with that draft, well, we've seen what can happen in some of the other races here. You know, the SRF, Spec Racer Ford race that just happened. By the time the white flag came out, 2 of those drivers had locked up together and had built a lead of over 15 seconds by doing that. I don't know if we'll see that kind of a margin in this class. The car's not as big. They don't draft quite as well, but could be interesting.
You can do it all on your own like Max Malinen has done. He's up to 3rd place after starting in 8th place. So he's all the way up to 3rd into medal contingent just within 1 lap. And that's an abbreviated lap due to that yellow.
Well, I think he did a great job, obviously, where he started in that 8th spot outside, and I think he just ramped around a bunch of the cars as they checked up going in. And then, you know, the danger with that with an open wheel car is then as you try and blend back in, if you catch a wheel, this kind of thing can happen. And somehow he made it work, found a little bit of a gap, and we know he is quick. And he just had that issue in qualifying. His best lap in qualifying, when you take a look back at it, a 2:03.8 compared to the 2:02.4 and 5 at that front group. Not a lot. I mean, we're talking 0.3 of a second, and that's 6 spots.
Again, they said he made a change on Tuesday, went back the wrong way, and then readjusted again. But the track conditions had changed so much, and the atmosphere had changed so much that when he went to go change it back again on Wednesday, he lost that time. And then Thursday, the conditions were terrible for their qualifying session, not able to get a good lap either.
Well, this is going to be fun now. He certainly maybe has it dialed up. They've got the conditions set, and we get the call from race control. Green this time by. The lights are out on that brand new MX-5 machine, pacing the field and bringing it around. That car will make that move into pit lane, and we should be completing lap number 3. So still plenty of racing yet to go. 11 laps around this long Daytona International Speedway road and oval configuration. And up on that banking, that's a pretty sight, isn't it?
It sure is. You got to see these open wheel cars, the big, huge bank here. They'll stay right on that yellow line as they come down around the oval, make the track as short as you can. But here, that little short chute between the exit of turn 4 and the entrance to the tri-oval, you'll see the pace car pull off and waiting for the green flag from our starter.
Ooh, Grenier, he rolled into it a little bit, Jeff, but the green came out. He timed it maybe to perfection, and that has allowed he and Couch to get that little bit of a break. Malinin right there. Coming up with Malinin in that 4 spot now is Rick Payne. Payne trying the outside move, floats a little bit wide and not able to deal with it, and Malinin through and clean into that 3rd spot. And by the way, you see that that big full yellow car there. That's that new Vestal 15. And Lewis, before that caution came out, had gone from way back in the pack. Michael Lewis had qualified 21st. He was in 11th.
Yeah, good run for him, going up there, picking up half the spots that he needs to get up to the front of this field. You saw Livingston when he got on the side of Malinin there, that really held him up, and that's going to allow Gittenradi to get up alongside of him now too as well, battling back there in that 5th and 6th place.
Yeah, having some fun here in the early going. And Lewis, by the way, he said that car, that new Vestal 15, tons of potential. We just haven't tapped into it enough yet as we work at it, but that was the whole idea. You can see that good close pack. And, you know, many's the time when we've seen some great racing, June sprints in particular, at another track where drafting plays key. You see these cars running these nice packs, and it makes for some fascinating finishes as they work once again through Speedway 2 and 3, and then onto the super stretch in this long, long run down into the bus stop. And take a look there, that number 13 of Jason Generati, that is a Swift DB1. And as we said, that's the car that changed aero, because not only did it do the slipperiness to the body, Jeff, it was the first car to take all the suspension components inboard and out of the airflow, and that made a huge difference.
It sure did. You just saw Rick Payne there clipping one of those cones and throwing it up in the air on the exit of the bus stop. The other thing about that Swift DB1 too is the driver sits way far forward. The feet are actually right there in the middle of the wishbone, sometimes over that if you're a taller driver. So really you get a lot of weight on the front of that car as you see another one of those Swifts off into the bus stop as well. Did not quite catch the car number on that.
And Malinin took a little bit of a run trying to get around the outside of Grenier. Couldn't do it, but now he makes that run again, and he's going to try. He's got the car in the right position. Grenier, see if he gives him his time. Oh, they touched, and that quick.
Impact.
Oh, huge impact. You've got to give people room down there. And our defending national champion and a guy with a huge shot at an opportunity for the title, both taken out, and a touch on those wheels, Jeff, it happens that fast.
That's all that had happened. They just hooked up, and it shot them both into the wall. Watch the impact here as you see head on for Malinin, and you got to just thankfully for the Hans device. And I did see Malinin's hand reach up and try to grab his visor there right when the car does stop, so that's good to see, but hopefully both drivers are okay. Heavy impact for both of these cars.
Yeah, you need a little bit of track awareness there, and that driver that is alongside, if he's established himself, you got to give him a little bit of racing room where bad things happen. And usually, you know, it's not just the guy that's running with you. If you don't give him the room, you're going to pay a price too. And both of these guys, big hits. So back under caution once again.
Good to see that both their heads are moving. So that's a positive. You know, you always got to be very careful when you have a double head-on impact with both of these drivers. And ooh, mega impact there. And that's going to put Rick Payne up into second place now. Tim Couch is still going to be in first. And let's take another look here, a different angle here as they come down through, and just happens that fast there onto the inside, makes the contact, and heavy impact to that inside wall on the exit of turn number 1.
Yeah, you could see the minute that they touched, you could see the wheel, Mallinen's hand, just that wheel just suddenly snapped on it. And that's another issue sometimes when it's sudden like that. You can damage, you can hurt a wrist, break fingers and the like with that, kind of sudden deal. And again, Jeremy just did not give him quite enough racing room there, and they both paid a big price. And as always, whenever you have a contact with another car or contact with any barrier, they always bring the ambulance out at standard operating procedure just to get the drivers in there, get them in and have them looked over at medical. And again, this is going to take a bit of time to clean this up. Both of these cars are going to have to go up on the hook.
Yeah, Mallinen was right there on the inside, had his wheels on the gator strip on the exit, which normally you don't really do that far over, and I don't think Grinner just gave him enough room there, pinched him off, and all it takes is that little touch, and you saw the result.
I've always questioned the wisdom as they get two guys out of the cars in an incident like this to put them in the back of the same ambulance.
Well, if they're not hurt, maybe they will be.
And then walk away for a moment to talk to somebody. Ought to have somebody there just in case. But these guys obviously, tough day. And I mean, unfortunate for the entire field, unfortunate for all the fans and viewers of this hugely popular class, Formula F, because two of the key players are out.
Exactly, and this is 2 full course cautions in the span of only 6 laps. And they keep running the oval here because that track will be blocked with the safety crews. Those laps are going to start winding down quicker than normal. They are slowing down the pace of the Mazda MX-5 pace car there just to give that chance to have some extra laps here at the end to make a run for this championship.
Yeah, this is tough to see. And again, it's just personally always been one of my absolute favorite classes. I love Formula racing, and I love the cars where you don't have what I call artificial grip, false grip, downforce, aero grip. It's about mechanical grip, and it's about the skill of the driver to manage it. And I love watching these guys race. And those were two of the best, and it's a shame we're not going to see them. But make no mistake about it. I mean, Rick Payne, Jason Generani, Livingston, there's some guys out there that are going to be absolutely fantastic. And Michael Lewis is now, because of that incident, and here he comes. It's that full yellow car. He's got that bright kind of pink helmet on. That is that new Vestal 15. And he's a super sweep winner already this weekend. Not going to happen here, obviously, as they're developing that car. But from 21st to 8th, you don't like to have that happen because of other guys wrecking. But you'll take anything you can get in this game, and it's good to see that program really for that development coming along.
Yeah, doing a good job there. We'll see if that car can get more popular. Obviously, it's good to see the strength of Formula F when there's new manufacturers coming in, building new cars, and trying to update that technology and push that. And this is a worldwide class. They race it in the Formula Ford Festival in Europe, and usually a lot of the champions from different series across the country. We have the Team USA scholarship as well. You win that, you get to go race in Europe. So it's pretty cool stuff.
And there's a couple of pro series that run as well. In Canada has one. I mean, there's a lot going on in this category. And let's check in now in the pits. Hayward Wagner, what are you hearing, bud?
Guys, here with the crew for the 4th place runner, Livingston. We're going to be coming out of the caution here in just a few minutes. What are you guys looking at as far as a strategy with this shortened race length?
The key is staying in the lead draft. We think the 3rd place car coming out of the bus stop is going to win this thing. So we want to be in the lead draft and prefer to be in 3rd place coming out of the bus stop on the last lap.
Now, in that lead draft, we've got a couple of the newer cars. We've got a couple of the older Swifts, and right behind you, you've got Bill Kephart and Mike Lewis with those new Streamliners. Anybody going to have a car advantage as the distance shortens?
The only real advantage is going to be ourselves and the 3rd place car, Jason, are running the wider rear tires. Once we pop out of the draft, we're going to be at a little bit disadvantage. So hopefully Jason and David can get a run on the cars in front together. Tim is on the smaller tires all the way around. He is going to have the best speed without anyone else around him, but he will not be able to hold off the cars drafting by.
So, guys, that's why you're seeing Tim up front right now. He's got the straight line speed, and these shortened race distances may help him with the heat in those rear tires.
Boy, and that's the other thing, exactly right, Jeff, talking about it. Now you've got less, you've been running around, tires are not taking that pounding for all of these race laps. You can push them a little harder now.
Yeah, you sure can. Where you might be in full conservation mode trying to save those skinny rear tires, now you're going to have some extra chance to do that. And just love watching that DB1 there in third place. Like I said, you can really get a good shot there of how much further forward the drivers sit in those cockpits. It was a big controversy there. You know, it was there's a lot of people that walk with limps because these Swift DB1s. A lot of the pro guys, Jeremy Dale, his accidents that he's had just in Formula Fords and then on into IndyCar Series and Champ Car Series. But it was.
Well, I think that's one of the reasons you see a lot of guys converting into that DB6. It's a little longer wheelbase. You sit back a little bit more, and it gives you a little bit more high-speed stability. But those DB1s, I mean, that car right there in third, it's a 1984 design. I mean, that gives you an idea of how old the technology was. But on the other hand, it's in third, which tells you that was pretty visionary, forward-thinking technology because it's still very effective, especially at a slippery track like this.
You can really see the arrow. It's got that little lower wing there in the back, the exhaust pipe out the back, and that big NACA duct there on the sides. I've always loved the design of the Swift DB1s. And it looks like we're just starting to get all the cars cleared off that incident down there in turn number 1. And the best news about that was Jeremy Grinner and Max Malinin crawling out of those cars under their own power and walking to the ambulance. A true testament not only to the design of these cars, but the safety equipment that SCCA mandates for all these drivers to wear.
Yeah, very good point indeed. And we saw that shot of Kotzen Payne, and you can see those small rear tires, those front tires on the back of the car. And then we saw Generati and Livingston, the cars that are in that third and fourth spot, definitely have that bigger tire at the back. And it's interesting how they do these tires in here because the actual width of the wheel is a lot narrower than the tire itself, especially on those bigger rears. There's a cantilever design that just gives you a little bit bigger footprint, doesn't it?
Yeah, it sure does. It tucks the bead of the wheel, and the tire goes on that, and then it sort of makes like a big, huge C on the outside of both of those, and it really could give you an extra inch of rubber on each side of the car. When you're talking this slow aero and no aero here, no aero grip, and you got to have all the mechanical grip you can get, you want as much rubber touching the ground as possible.
And that's what he was talking about, that for Generati and Livingston, third and fourth right now, they need to run together to be able to negate the advantage that Kotz and that our car sits in second, the 75 of Payne right now have with that smaller rear wheel at the back of the car that makes them just a little bit more slippery. So strategy going to be huge here. And I love what he was saying. If everything plays right, we want to be third coming out of the bus stop, but we need a guy behind us to run with us to negate that smaller hole that those narrow rear tires are punching on Kotz. And again, just a great run by Rick Payne. Let's not forget here, sitting in second, Rick Payne, where did he start, folks? 10th. He too did that great rim shot move. I think he maybe just followed Malinin right out and around it at the start of this race, but boy, did it play out to perfection for him.
It sure did. Good strategy call based on that, and really playing the game right here as he's moving through the field. Should have between 5 or 4 laps to go when we go back green for your Formula F National Championship race. 2 different engine manufacturers in this group, it being Ford and Honda, with the brand new 1.5 liter Honda Fit motor running in these cars, and then of course the Ford 2-liter that's been 1600 that's been run in these classes since 1969, I believe.
Absolutely, right from the very beginning. And just waiting to see here as we're completing now, we're working lap number 8. So that last time they went by start-finish, they really went by half distance here. But it looks like this field, they were very aggressively scrubbing, and now they are lining up. And I wonder if they might not be anticipating a restart here. We have not heard any word officially whether we're going green this lap or not. And obviously the key is for these drivers, watch that pace car. And I think there's a reason Payne's dropped back just a little bit. He wants to run and have those guys behind him push him forward here as soon as it goes green. And they're just trying to figure out what it is. Yeah, the lights out are on the lights are out on the pace car, and as a result, you see Kotz now let that pace car get free. We're going back, and we've got a full half a race that is going to unfold here. Green flag flies, and Kotz rolls into the throttle. Payne, Generati, and Livingston coming with him, and I think Payne may have laid back a little bit too much there. He just wasn't close enough. Here's that run that he wanted. And he lost the nose on that car, didn't he, Jeff?
Yeah, sure did. No downforce when you come down there in the braking zone. You're trying to get the wheel turned as quick as possible, and it just won't react. And I'm not sure if Couts got a little bit of a jump there either. We didn't, of course, see the green flag in our shot, but he left way early as soon as that Mazda MX-5 pulled down onto pit lane.
So first time now back at speed after the restart through the International Horseshoe, heading toward the kink. And this is in this class, these cars are on the edge driving through here. Nice little slides through that corner, especially once they get the tires back up to temperature and pressure. And an aggressive move there. That was the 85, David Livingston, who lost a couple of spots on that restart and dropped back, Jeff.
Yeah, he sure did. A little bit more than he thinks he wanted, as he told him by that crew chief in the interview we had a little bit earlier, that he has to get up there and he wants to be about third or fourth if he wants to get up into that grid.
And that red number 83 is our third place qualifier of William Valet. He had lost on those two starts to Malinen, the quick starting, again, driver that started in 10th, Payne, and the like. Now he is brought back into it as he was able to get around and make that move on Livingston. Now the question is going to be, what kind of speed does he have? And look at this, side by side, we have a new leader as Payne has drafted by and picks up the lead into the bus stop. Tim Couch slots into second, Generati third, Valet fourth, and then a gap now back to Livingston.
And you see Payne waving, saying, line up with me, let's pull away here. It's not going to happen. As look at that as they come down 3 wide, almost there as he goes through the oval, and you got to tuck back in there. He's not going to be, he'll be a sitting duck at Generati there in third.
Well, I think Couch sold him a little dummy, and Generati went with him, and then Couch immediately tucked back down. But the good news for Generati, well, for a moment there, it looked like Valet was going to go with him, and we have got them side by side as we complete lap number 9 in the run order here, and officially at the line it's Payne, Couch, Valet, and Generati. But I think we're starting to see everybody's testing the waters, Jeff, about just what kind of toe am I going to get and where.
And maybe Couch decides that I think the best place for me is in second place. I can catch a little bit draft. I don't have to push as hard. Maybe cool my tires a little bit. Look to the inside there as Valet trying to make a move on Couch as well.
And if he can get that completed here, it's all a matter of exit speed here. That kind of held him up. He had to tighten his radius. You can see Generati thought about it. And now, just a quick note here, we've got Andrew Melvin, who qualified 11th, getting around Livingston and up into the 5th spot. But now, down into that west horseshoe. There is a look at the 83 of Valet with Generati. Then the gap in Livingston. Oh, he just dove underneath Melvin and took that spot away, but slowed them both up, Jeff, and they're losing touch with that lead group of 4.
Yeah, Livingston just needs to back off a little bit, let McDonald pull back up in behind him, or if he needs to try to catch to the front of Andrew Melvin and maybe catch a little bit of a draft there on Generati.
Meanwhile, look at what Payne has been able to do here. He had a great run through the infield after he had made that pass on Couch in the banking, and now he's got himself enough of a margin built up. Let's see what happens here. Valet, he's going to get a push now from Generati, and they both come up, move to the inside of Tim Couch as they head down into the bus stop, and it is Valet to the inside. Couch, is he going to try and ramp the outside? Nope, just left enough room, so he didn't impede his turn, and smart move by that champion right there, Tim Couch. He knows what he needs to do, but boy, did Valet get the line done, and then he just executed beautifully through the bus stop.
Well, last lap by, he was a 2:04.298, fastest guy on the track by about 0.6 of a second. So that Swift DB1 on the rails. He looks to the outside of Rick Payne, getting the draft through the oval. Turn number 4 is going to have Couch come up behind him. It's a 3-car draft going to the outside of Payne. Now 3 wide as they come down to the stripe.
3 wide, then they settle into 2x2 configuration. Couch noses ahead. Ooh, a couple of big wiggles there by Valet, and that slowed both he and Payne up and allowed, I think that maybe there may have been a touch. If not, they were both real arrow loose at that point, and that puts Couch back into the lead. Generati second, Valet, the red 83 third, and the 75, the black and yellow machine of Payne now in 4th. They still have that bit of a gap over Livingston, who got around, and Hartley McDonald went by Andrew Melvin as well and picked up that 6th spot.
Well, to see them bump drafting in Formula F down through the tri-oval, it's right here. Only happens at Daytona International Speedway.
Yeah, and at a moment there you look at it and go, ooh, awkward. But they were able to hang on to it here. Ooh, big rotation there by the 83 of Valet as he's trying to get a run on Generati coming out of the West Horseshoe. Now up into turn 6. Hugely important corner.
Watching both these Swift's and a little bit loose there for Valet. Got a little tank slapper there on the exit up there, but how about the Swift chassis cars here? You see those guys team up and see if they can drive right around Couch, but it looks like that little wiggle that Valet had is going to affect him on the draft. We'll watch Rick Payne dropping all the way back to 4th place.
As Generati gets up under the back of Couch, had to move out here to keep his speed up. That sort of stalled his run. Then he tucks back in behind Couch and looking way down to the inside is Valet. Not close enough. And he tucks back in behind, so Couch leads into the bus stop. Chased by Generati, Valet, Payne, and then the gap back to 4th and 5th, or excuse me, 5th and 6th, Livingston, McDonald, and then Melvin watching what's going to unfold here. Now, Couch got through the bus stop really well, so now that DB1, the white car, and the DB6, the red car, you would have thought it may have been a smarter move there for Valet to just get right up behind Generati and draft a little bit, but he elected to pop to the outside. Now they're side by side.
Yeah, I think they would have stayed nose to tail. They quite possibly would have seen. Yeah, Valet starting back there in the 3rd to see. He did not get it that time. He wasn't able to go around Couch for that lead, so he's going to want to be a little bit closer next time by.
They're studying is what they're doing right now. They're trying to figure out where, at what distance back will I get the toe I need to be able to get the speed to slingshot around. And you know, you practice that for days in the qualifying runs, but you need to do it in race trim a couple of times here. And Couch right now, he looks like he's fairly comfortable leading. It's not like he's just giving it up and saying, no, I want to try and get behind somebody. I think Couch wants to leave this in his own hands here right now. And Generati, he has got to be right up with somebody. As now you can see the difference in those rear tires between those two Swifts.
Yeah, and Rick Payne's back in the fold as well. It's now become a 4-car battle here for the lead. Was going to be 1 lap to go next time by, according to my calculations. It might be 2 laps to go. I'm sorry, looking at my Race Monitor app, trying to watch the live timing here. If you're tuned in at home, go to racemonitor.com and download that app, available for Android.
So watching what's unfolding here now, and it's obviously it's pretty interesting, of course, what we're seeing unfold here. Valet turns the fastest lap at a 2:04.014, but with those small rear tires, you can see that car is a lot twitchier right now than Jason Generati, who runs in 3rd. Generati getting the toe, makes the move to the inside of Valet now, and let's see if he can execute it. Valet thought about ramping the outside, but they entered the bus stop side by side, and that's what Couch wants. Go ahead, you guys, race. Right now, that is giving me the opportunity now to draw away. And now, watch what happens here as that red DB6, that's Valet, comes up on the back of Generati running those bigger rear tires, punching a little bit bigger hole in the air, and he just pulls out and drives around. But these two guys have got to stop racing, Jeff. They've got to work together to get back to Couch.
Yeah, Valet just needs to either stay in front, and the same thing with Generati, maybe before it don't make that pass in the bus stop and just stay on the back bumper there and try to run down Couch. Don't count out Rick Payne. He's been watching all this happen. I got to think he's sitting there saying, strategy, 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 what can I do here?
Absolutely. Payne driving a Van Diemen, so you've got a number of different car manufacturers and a couple of different models, from one with the Swift, the red car, the DB6, the white car, the DB1, the old machine. But boy, sure is effective when it's time to get slippery out there, no question about that. And again, Couch now maintains that little bit of a margin, but it looks like Valet and Generati have calmed down a little bit and trying to race each other and are just focused on trying to close it up on Couch.
Couch down here into the West Horseshoe. A little bit loose there on the entry, and you got to think maybe if those tires are starting to go off, as you see those little skinny, narrow rear tires, you got to go back to 3rd place with Generati, who has the bigger rear tire, and you can really see when you get a close-in shot of both of those cars, the 2nd place car of Valet, and then Generati in 3rd. The size of those tires, we'll see if that's going to play a factor here with a little less than a lap and a half to go in this race.
I'll tell you though, for Couch, I mean, it was loose, but it was controlled loose. He had that rotation handled beautifully. Here comes Generati now. He is coming after, and he's going, but I think Generati's realizing, no, he needed to stay there, and he decided to pull out. And that is going to kill them in their chance. Oh! But Couch, something, he went for the brake. I don't know whether the right front broke or whether when he went for the brake, it just pitched him into the wall and it broke. But our 3-time national champion leading this one is done.
devastation, just like what happened at Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca down there in turn number 4. Spun it down into the gravel trap. He was able to continue, but devastation here. Let's see exactly what happens again. Watch that right front. We're looking for the brakes here, and the car just pitched a little too much rear brake, it looks like, and stuffed that car into the right side wall.
Wow, the things we have seen here this weekend. So now, as we come around to complete lap number 13, in 1 lap to go, this is it. You've got the small rear tire DB6 up in the lead. The big rear tire DB1 from Swift in second, and all the way up from 10th of Van Diemen Honda. What a run by Rick Payne as he is tucked in here. It's down to these 3, Jeff, and remember what the guy said? We think third out of the bus stop might be where we want to be, and I think Rick Payne is sitting there going, seriously, this might work.
I know Rick Payne with the narrow car too. He's got those narrow tires on the back, along with your leader, Will Valet, and I think they're going to come down here into that west horseshoe. Generati has a shot to do it. He's gotten around Valet each time into the bus stop. He held up a little bit the last time by. I don't think he'll do that this time. He's going to, only shot he's going to have is going to try to get around him here down in the bus stop, get a good run through the bus stop and put a gap so Valet can't close back in.
Let's see what happens here out of turn 6, and a great exit out of 6, even with those smaller tires by Valet, but not enough. And now we are going to see that draft, and you've got a triple draft that's going to be happening for Payne here, depending upon how he plays this here. And we're watching his Generati. I don't know. I think he was a little bit farther back in those big rear tires, slowing his progress. Payne now is going to swing out, and now he picks up some serious speed. Now he pulls out and he too has a big wiggle when he goes to the brake, but he held onto it, Jeff, and that is allowing him to lead. Valet going to try and stuff it down the inside on the exit of the bus stop. That slowed Valet down. Here comes Generati.
Had to check up a little bit, but look at the power of that DB6 of Valet. He's done these power moves all along. Looks to tuck back in the draft. Who knows what's going to happen as they're trying to go 3 wide here at the end of Formula F.
This is going to be interesting. If I were Generati, I'd just watch what Valet does and go with him when he makes the move. It's back and forth, juking and jiving up to the line. Indecision is costing everybody big time, and as a result, from 10th, it is Payne that comes through, unbelievable, and wins the national championship. And Valet and Generati, they couldn't make up their mind what to do, and indecision may have cost them a shot at the gold. Still, they get the medals, but 10th to the look at Payne is just absolutely beside himself inside that car. Boy, did he play that to perfection.
He sure did. We said he was in 3rd place on that last lap. We heard down from Hayward Wagner on pit lane during that interview that 3rd place was going to be the place to be to get the win, and he made sure of that. Did not want to make him a liar. He's got a car off there, driver's left. And you can see the skid marks there, but that was right there on that last lap. No harm, no foul.
And boy, you could certainly see those cars with those skinny rears near the end, especially the stability under braking from high speeds into that bus stop. They were very twitchy. It caught out Kotz and almost caught out Payne, but somehow he's able to make that work. Wow, what a story.
Wow, that was an exciting race, too. A little 5-lap shootout there to the end. Big salute to your championship from William Valet alongside there. And you see Generati getting that bronze medal, waving to all these course workers and fans around here at Daytona.
And after dropping back as far as 6, David Livingston able to climb back up. Here's another. Now watch this twitch. Yep. And that may have actually dissuaded Valet. He had to lift for a second, didn't he?
Yeah, I think he sort of saw that heads up there and maybe tried to get it back over here too. And you see him hung up there because Generati just closed the gap on the exit of the bus stop.
And then here it was at the finish. That close. Boy, and Generati darn near took that silver away, didn't he?
But I got to think, like you said there, too, that little indecision that you saw coming down the oval. They were going to the left, going to the right, trying to find a way to see which way they wanted to go and could not make those decisions. And ultimately, like you said, I believe that did cost them that gold medal.
Yeah, I think, you know what, had Valet just decided to make the move and had Generati gone with him, that may have been enough to at least push one of them by Payne. But they just kept going, should I? And then you run out of time and track. And that is exactly how it played out. But what an exciting finish. Problematic start to the race is the first 7 laps, really. We had start, caution, restart, caution. and didn't get much racing in, but these final 7 laps were fascinating. And for Tim Kotz, just that moment when those back tires just gave up a little bit under braking and it threw the car into the wall. Other than that, I mean, he looked to really have an idea as to what he wanted to do. Whether it would have worked, we don't know, but he had a plan, and that was to go fast at the front and make them chase me. And obviously it didn't work for him. And for Payne coming in, you see the applause from all of the people down in pit lane because they know that Rick Payne, 10th to 1st, Jeff, what a story he was able to put in here.
Yeah, some other big movers and shakers in the field. How about Michael Lewis, able to finish in the 6th place?
Yeah, great story.
Doing a good job for him. And Megan Sauce, unfortunately, was up into a top 10. She goes back to 15th, still trying to win that hard charge award. We saw that car parked off into the side there through the kink.
You know, one of the interesting things here real quickly is watching those cars come in. You know, you heard Hayward talking about that new Vestal that Mike's driving, called it the Streamliner. And you look at all of the other cars out there, there's another car that has that same kind of look, and it's called the DB1 from 1984.
1981.
That was the original
Pull the helmet
Streamliner.
off if you can.
Wow, what a story. And here he comes up and out of the car, Rick Payne. That's not orange, or that's orange, it's not pink, so he's not looking at the world through rose-colored glasses. He is a national champion. Off comes the helmet. That means down we go to Hayward Wagner.
Rick Payne, tell me about the pass going into the buff stop. Unbelievable, sideways. Did you think that was going to be the move of the race?
No, I was getting held up a little into there. He was very fast. I thought, this is your shot. Go for it now. And I just threw the car in. My Avon tires hung on fantastically.
10th place qualifier, a couple of cautions tightened you guys back up. You got into that group of 4, and then Tim had his issue. It looked like you had a very similar slide in the same place. Was there an oiling issue, or was it the guys with the narrower tires?
Maybe narrower tires. I got in a little deep once into the bus stop, got it under control. It's tough on the narrow tires, but boy, do they pay off on the straightaway.
Now, coming to the flag, you were in the worst possible position according to everyone. How did you manage to stay in front of those two?
Elite engines power and skinny Avon tires, my man. Great engineering by Dan Campbell.
Well, a fantastic drive for you. An unbelievable finish here in Formula F. And again, guys, we've got another one of these cars that has all these vents taped off for that maximum speed on the straightaways, and boy, did he need it when it mattered most. We're going to move down now to William Valet, who I believe is... William, can we get a word with you? What a race. You and Generati coming out of the bus stop, it looked like indecision was your worst enemy on which side to go, and you just kind of got caught behind the leader.
He had a great drive by him, by the way, and thanks to Jason for playing nice. We just couldn't, we had to stay in the draft. Jason was behind me, and I couldn't quite pop out early enough, because if I popped out, Jason would squeeze underneath me behind Rick and probably take second place, so we had to hedge our bets a little bit in the last lap.
Talk about the pass going into the bus stop. Did you get a look at the car in front of you with the slide?
I was sideways because Tim went right into the wall, and I was completely sideways going in there, too. It took us by surprise. So I was a little tentative coming in the next lap into the bus stop. That's how Rick went right around the outside.
Well, a great drive for you. A second spot here on the podium in Formula F. And we've got Jason next. Jason Generati, I met you last year at the Formula Fest, and you were talking about how hard it is to run in this class with all the equipment that these guys are bringing. You're the only Kent-powered car, I believe. Kent Power, am I correct?
Yeah. Well,
the only.
Bill finished second in these Kent. Oh, at the Formula.
You were the only one there.
Yeah.
2 Kent cars on the podium here. How gratifying? I know you wanted to win this race, but how gratifying is it to come here and compete at this level?
No, it's incredible. We got in front of some really fast guys, and we stayed up there, and it's unbelievable. Podium finish. Yeah, I don't know where my dad is, but wherever my dad is, you know, this is a father and son team, and we did awesome. So
truly a shoestring budget for you guys coming here and running the runoffs. You had a shot at the win coming in out of the bus stop. You were where you wanted to be in that 3rd spot. It just looked like you guys got kind of bunched up through NASCAR 3 and 4 and couldn't really close the gap.
Rick was doing a good job of keeping us behind them, and Bill and I, we couldn't do it. We didn't want to hit each other, and yeah, it's just what it was. So we're still good though.
A tremendous credit to you and the others for keeping that one clean. That was a fantastic finish.
Listen to the emotion down there. That is what it is all about. What a great story for those guys. And, here's the thing, and I loved.
I bought this car when he was born. We've had it 30 years. And a couple years he said, Dad, can I give it a shot? I said yes, and I can't believe where he ended up. I just can't.
How proud are you of this kid?
He's done so many good things in his life. Engineer, great human being. This is just icing on the cake. Just icing on the cake.
Well, I'm not sure who the congratulations goes to, you or him, but definitely a team effort.
Him. He drove the wheels off that car.
All right, guys, a great family story here in Victory Lane.
Absolutely, and you know what? That's a podium in his first ever runoffs. So that's pretty impressive and a great drive, and in a DB1.
30-year-old car.
That is just fantastic. Obviously, that technology working. And here's another one for Rick Payne. This is his third runoffs. He's had 2 top 10s. Previously, last year at Mazda Raceway, Laguna Seca, he ended up with a 6th. But today, he comes through with a win and a gold medal over Valet, Generati, then Livingston, a great comeback drive, Melvin. Michael Lewis showing what that Vestal is going to be capable of. Wes Allen, Mark Blanc, remember, he had to go to the back of the field and fought his way up into 8th. Imagine what he may have been able to do if he had not missed that call to the grid and the like. So some great stuff. And for Rick Payne, I loved it when Hayward said, so what was the secret today? And he went, lead engines and skinny Avon tires, my man.
That was
fantastic.
It. That's all it took.
Yeah, that was it, man. And some brilliant driving. And, of course, as we said, this one started a little rough here in the opening lap. Watch right there. A couple of guys got together and ended up having us under caution for a little while. Then this moment, actually kind of a spooky one, Jeff.
Yeah, it really was, with Malin and Grenier, your championship winner last year, tangled together in both head-on collisions. Good news, they both got out of the cars under their own power, got in there, and then the changer of this race, Tim Couch leading, runs into the wall on the right side, maybe had a mechanical failure, maybe just lost the grip here. As you see,
then this move here, boy, Payne, that big wiggle, he was doing it too. They were so on the edge down in there.
Yeah, those skinny little rear tires you could run here to try to get that better aero made these cars a little more unstable than they already are. And I think that was just a result of that. And here comes your finish in Formula F.
And look how close Generati got indeed to that second place. But now Rick Payne, he gets a very special lap. That was what it looked like as he pulled into victory circle. Then they do the interview, then they give him that checkered flag, and he gets to go out and do a very special lap of honor. So Formula F in the books. Again, one of the great classes in the history of SCCA's National Championship Runoffs, presented by Garmin Verb. And again, a class that is just, I think, one of the great driver classes in any category. And that means Rick Payne today, you did something mighty special, my friend. Congratulations to Rick, William Valet, and Jason Generati. We'll be back to Daytona for more National Championship racing, but Formula F is in the books. The 2015 SCCA National Championship Runoffs, presented by Garmin Verb, is being brought to you by Mazda. Mazda, driving matters.
16 wide eyes. Driver's license, took 2 tries, bought a Roadster secondhand. Playing parties with the band, loaded up, off to state. Hijinks, tailgates, starter, midsize, family cruising. Now in the garage, something new reminds you of when you were you.
It's time to face facts. You're a gearhead. You wish the freeway on-ramp was your personal racetrack. Well, buckle up, buddy, because the Sports Car Club of America wants you. With 40,000 members and events across the country, the SCCA has all the excitement you can handle. Dance the blacktop two-step with SCCA Solo. Get down and dirty with SCCA Rallycross. Or go wheel-to-wheel with SCCA Club Racing. Hit the track with the SCCA, where America's best drivers race.